California's real estate industry does not want you to see this video, because the moment you realize that a Victorian house on the coast costs less here than a condo in Boise, the entire narrative about California being unaffordable falls apart. I spent months driving through the parts of this state that don't make the Instagram feeds, and I kept finding the same thing: towns with hospitals, farmers markets, and front porches where retirees are living well on budgets that would get you a studio apartment in San Diego. We've got a town where the flower fields supply seeds to the entire planet, a place that hosts the oldest professional rodeo in the state, a city with more Victorian architecture than San Francisco at a third of the price, and a fishing village so far north it feels more like Oregon decided to annex part of California and forgot to tell anyone. If any of that sounds better than a $2 million bungalow in Santa Monica, hit that subscribe button, because this channel covers the California nobody puts on a postcard. Let's count it down. Number 12, Blythe. Blythe sits on the Colorado River at California's eastern border with Arizona, and it is the kind of town that people discover only because their gas light came on at the wrong moment. The heat is real. Summers push well past 110 degrees, and the population is about 18,000 people who have collectively decided that air conditioning is not optional, it is spiritual. But here's what nobody tells you. Housing in Blythe is among the cheapest in the entire state. Winters are genuinely pleasant, and the river access means fishing, boating, and sunset walks along water that has no business being this pretty in a desert. When I stopped for gas, a retired couple from Riverside told me they'd moved here 3 years ago and cut their monthly expenses in half. I asked what they missed. The husband said traffic. His wife said nothing. Number 11, Susanville. Susanville sits in Lassen County at about 4,200 feet elevation, surrounded by national forest, and it is the kind of town where people wave at strangers from their trucks and mean it. The population is around 14,000. Home prices run well below $300,000, and the outdoor access is ridiculous. Lassen Volcanic National Park, Eagle Lake, and hundreds of miles of trail all within a short drive. The trade-off is isolation. The nearest major city is Reno, about 85 miles east, and winters bring real snow. But for retirees who wanted mountains instead of malls, Susanville delivers a version of California that most Californians have never seen. Number 10, Fortuna. Fortuna is a small town of about 12,000 people in Humboldt County, 15 miles from the coast, and its street lamps still carry the 1962 voter-chosen motto Friendly City, which is the most aggressively wholesome municipal branding I've ever encountered. The town sits on the Eel River, surrounded by working dairy farms and redwood forest, and the median home price runs around $426,000, far below the state average. The 1921 Fortuna Rodeo is still going strong, making it the oldest continuous rodeo in Northern California. The old Pacific Lumber headquarters is now City Hall, so residents file permits in a redwood-paneled banking hall built with company scrip. That sentence alone should be on a tourism brochure. Number 9, Hemet. Hemet sits in the San Jacinto Valley in Riverside County, about 90 minutes from both Los Angeles and San Diego, and it has been quietly absorbing retirees for decades. The population is around 90,000. Median home prices hover near $420,000, and the healthcare infrastructure is built for an older population because that's exactly who lives here. The Ramona Pageant, California's official outdoor play, has been performed in a natural amphitheater here since 1923, which means this town has been putting on the same show for over 100 years and still sells tickets. Hemet is not glamorous. It is not trying to be. It is the town that figured out its identity early and never flinched. Number 8, Red Bluff. Red Bluff sits on the Sacramento River in Tehama County, and it is home to the Red Bluff Roundup, the oldest continuously sanctioned professional rodeo in California, drawing tens of thousands to a town of about 14,000 every April. Home prices average around $314,000, roughly 59% below the California median, and the Sacramento River runs right through town, offering some of the best trout fishing in the state. When I visited, I watched a man land a rainbow trout from a spot that was a 5-minute walk from his front door. His retirement plan, he told me, was this river and a library card. He did not seem to be suffering. Number 7, Ukiah. Ukiah sits in the heart of Mendocino County wine country, and it is the kind of town that has everything a retiree needs: a hospital, grocery stores, public transit, restaurants, and vineyards, without the price tag that usually comes with the word wine country. Housing runs below the state average, the climate is warm and dry in summer, and the Russian River is close enough for weekend kayaking. The town also hosts the Ukiah Country Pumpkin Fest every October, which is exactly as charming as it sounds, and exactly the kind of event that makes a retirement feel like a life instead of a waiting room. If you've been watching this far and haven't subscribed yet, now's the time, because the top 6 is where this list gets genuinely surprising. Number 6. Lompoc. Lompoc sits in Santa Barbara County, about 30 miles from the coast, and during spring the flower fields that surround it erupt into color so vivid it looks artificial. The Lompoc Valley is one of the world's leading producers of flower seeds, and the annual flower festival has been running since 1946. Vandenberg Space Force Base is nearby, which anchors the local economy with something more durable than tourism. And the real kicker is that Jalama Beach, one of the most pristine and uncrowded stretches of California coast, is just 30 miles southwest. Housing prices here are dramatically lower than anywhere else in Santa Barbara County. You're getting Santa Barbara's coast at Bakersfield's price, and the flowers are free. Number 5. Crescent City. Crescent City is the northernmost coastal city in California, about 20 miles south of the Oregon border, and it is surrounded by redwood national and state parks, which means the tallest trees on Earth are your neighbors. Median home prices have been reported around $259,000, making this one of the cheapest coastal zip codes in the entire state. The harbor was rebuilt after a devastating tsunami in 1964, and the Battery Point Lighthouse, accessible only at low tide, is one of the most photographed landmarks on the North Coast. The trade-off is rain and isolation. The nearest major airport is a 3-hour drive, and winter storms off the Pacific are not gentle. But for what you're getting, old-growth forest, wild coastline, and a house under $300,000, Crescent City is California's best-kept coastal secret. Number 4. Alturas. Alturas is the county seat of Modoc County in California's far northeast corner, and it might be the most remote incorporated city in the state. The population is about 2,600, the nearest freeway is over 100 miles away, and the town hosts the Fandango Days car show and Balloon Fest with the enthusiasm of a city 20 times its size. Housing here is genuinely cheap. The high desert landscape is wide open, and the Desert Rose Casino provides entertainment that most towns this size cannot offer. When I drove through, I counted more cattle than cars, which is not an insult, it's a lifestyle metric. Alturas is for the retiree who doesn't want to be found and wants the sky to prove it every evening. Number 3. Ferndale. Ferndale is a Victorian village in Humboldt County, about 5 hours north of San Francisco, and it looks like someone preserved an entire 19th century town under glass and then let people keep living in it. The main street is lined with ornate facades that locals call butterfat palaces because they were built with dairy money in the 1880s. The town hosts the Kinetic Grand Championship, a 3-day human-powered sculpture race over land, sand, and water that is the single strangest sporting event in California and possibly America. Ferndale is small, about 1,400 people, and services are limited. But the charm is not manufactured. It's the real thing, preserved because nobody with enough money to tear it down ever showed up. Number 2. Eureka. Eureka is the largest coastal city between San Francisco and Portland, and it has more Victorian architecture per capita than almost anywhere in the state, including the famous Carson Mansion, widely considered the most photographed Victorian house in America. Median home listings run around $489,000, and the cost of living sits roughly 21% below the California average. Old Town is walkable, Humboldt Bay is right there, and Redwood National Park is less than an hour north. Providence St. Joseph Hospital won the Patient Safety Excellence Award for 2025, which matters enormously when you're 70 and your knee is making decisions on your behalf. One-bedroom apartments here can run under $900 a month in coastal California. I'll say that again, under $900 on the coast. Eureka's name literally means I have found it. For a retiree on a budget, that's not a name, that's a thesis statement. Number 1. Chico. Chico earns the top spot because it has something almost no other affordable California town can offer. A genuine college town energy that keeps the restaurants full, the arts scene alive, and the culture from calcifying. The population is about 100,000, anchored by Chico State, and the town sits in the northern Sacramento Valley with easy access to both the Sierra Nevada and the coast. Bidwell Park, one of the largest municipal parks in the country at over 3,600 acres, runs right through town and was used as the filming location for the original Robin Hood. Housing is affordable by California standards, healthcare is strong, and the Saturday farmers market is the kind of weekly ritual that turns a retirement into a community. When I first visited Chico, I had a $2 taco from a stand near the park, watched a drum circle happen in a parking lot, and had a retired teacher explain to me why the creek running through Bidwell Park is the best swimming hole in California. She'd lived in Los Angeles for 30 years before moving here. I asked her what she missed. She said she'd let me know when she thought of something. That's the list, 12 California towns that the brochures skip and the retirees won't leave. If this video changed what you thought California retirement looked like, subscribe, because next week I'm covering the mountain towns where your heating bill is the only thing that runs hot. Drop a comment with the California town I missed, and I'll see you in the next one.